So they're gutting bilingual education and supports, removing DEIA programs, and trying to shut down the Department of Education. They have already disbanded the Diversity and Inclusion Council, which helped schools support non-English speaking students. And now this executive order says the government no longer has to provide accommodations for non-English speakers. Let us connect the dots. Ultimately, states decide what students learn. And if a state doesn't want to fund bilingual education, right now, the Every Student Succeeds Act requires schools to track ELL progress. It says they have to give standardized testing accommodations for them, and it requires states to set goals for English proficiency. So if states want federal education funding from the U.S. Department of Education, they have to follow ESSA's ELL requirements. But if the federal government moves to block grants, which is what the GOP wants to do, states could take money without following these requirements. States could decide to not track ELLs or give them accommodations at all, and the federal government cannot stop them because funding is no longer conditional. So we could see again the same thing that happened when there were English-only education laws in the 90s and 2000s. ELL students may be left behind again, and no one will be tracking it again. I talk about it in my previous video if you missed it, but also the U.S. Department of Education's Office for Civil Rights is supposed to investigate when states or districts fail to support English language learners, but under administrations like Bush and Trump, they were not prioritizing this. And we're already seeing the Department of Education's Office for Civil Rights turn a blind eye to a whole lot of important discrimination in favor of tackling imaginary reverse racism. So even if these federal laws still exist, weak enforcement means that states could get away with pushing English-only policies like they did before. So what can we do? This is not a done deal. We still have time to push back. 1, support bilingual education and DEIA efforts in your community. There are local advocacy groups fighting for equitable education in this area, and get involved in your state and local school board. If the federal government won't protect emergent bilingual students, local and state leaders have to. We have to.